Shalom, shalom. Want to give honor and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Get back into the laws. Deuteronomy 17 chapter, the laws of kings and justice. All right. So let's don't waste no time. Let's get into it. Let's go to Deuteronomy 17 and 1. Deuteronomy 17 and 1. Deuteronomy 17 and 1. Thou shalt not sacrifice unto the Lord thy God, and any bullock or sheep wherein is blemish, or any evil favoredness, slacky, for that is an abomination to the Lord thy Yahweh. Meaning, this is, slacky, this the law when you are sacrificing an animal to the Most High, sin offering, burnt offering, because you have different types of burnt offering, sin offering, peace offering, meat offering, grain offering. So the animal that you offer, rather, it was a lamb, and this was done in the ancient world, and we can go offer up a lamb now, and that was done in the ancient world. And back then you had to inspect your lamb to make sure it didn't have any spot on him, and you had to look behind his ears and flip over his leg, and you had to make sure he is walking upright, and you might have to test the lamb to make sure he can run, and if he has a limp on him, and you can't sacrifice that animal. So you had to put that animal to the test, because whatever was offered up to the Most High has to be without spot and without blemish in the ancient world, and our bodies are represented as a living sacrifice. So when you offer yourself up to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and we have to make sure that we are without spot and without blemish, right? So let's go to Malachi. Let's go to Malachi 2 and 1, okay? All right. What's the covenant for the Levites? Okay, to offer up animal sacrifices. Let's go to it. Bear with me, Malachi. Malachi. It's Malachi 2 and 1. Okay. And now, O ye priests, this commanded, slacky. Read that again. And now, O ye priests, this commandment is for you. Verse 2. If ye will not hear, and if ye will not lay it to heart, to give glory unto my name, said the Lord of hosts, I will even send a curse upon you, and I will curse your blessing. Yeah, I have cursed it them already, because ye do not lay it to heart. Verse 3, behold, behold, I will corrupt your seed and spread dung upon your faces, even the dung of your solemn feast, and one shall take you away with it. Verse 4, and ye shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant might be with Levi, said the Lord of hosts. Right, meaning the covenant was with the Levites, and they had to offer up the animal sacrifice. And in Malachi, second chapter, it's really a judgment on the Levites due to how they disobeyed the law of sacrifice, and they became complacent, and they began to offer up animals with blemish, and they stopped checking the animals, and they had well-fed, healthy animals, but they would keep them for themselves to eat, and the animals that was blemish, they would say, let's offer that to the Lord, and it is what it is. And they given the Lord the bruised up animal, and they kept the good animal to eat, so the Lord cursed them. And that is why the Haitian country are the poorest country in the world, and them are the Levites, and they are literally spreading dung upon their faces and eating mud pies, and they have earthquakes every year, and having tsunamis, and Esau is robbing them every day, looting, and they don't have a navy, and they don't have an air force, and they are done. And the Levites are the poorest tribe, Why? Because they were held at a higher standard of the priest of the Most High. Right. So let's go to Malachi 1 and 7. Okay. Malachi 1 and 7. Ye offer, ye offer polluted bread upon my altar, and ye say, wherein have we polluted thee? In that ye say, the table of the Lord is contemptible. Meaning the Levites were offering up polluted bread, and it might have been mold, or been a bite mark, or someone bit it, or the crumbs was sprinkled it all over, or the bread wasn't done all the way, or didn't put the frankincense on top, and they stopped caring. And the same thing today, we stop caring and praying, reading and studying, etc. And remember, our prayers are spiritually sacrifices, pursuing Psalms 141 and 2 chapter, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. So your spiritual sacrifice, you have to be into this thing, and you gotta want to do it. And we can be like our forefather and get complacent by doing the work for the Lord. Verse 8. And if ye offer the blind for sacrifice, is it not evil? And if ye offer the lame and sick, is it not evil? Offer it now unto thy governor. Will he be pleased it with thee, Slaki, or accept thy person? Said the Lord of hosts. Right, meaning that is evil, because the Lord is supposed to have the animal in the first year without spot and without blemish. And Abel and Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob did it, and all our forefathers did that. But now you want to offer up the blind. That is evil. And this is a rhetorical question. And the Most High kind of saying, offer it up to your governor, and you think he's going to accept it, and why should I accept it? And if the priest not going to accept it, and how am I supposed to accept it? And the Lord said, if you offer up the lame, blind, and the sick, it is evil. And also that applies today, and you can offer up the lame, blind, and the sick. And remember, we are priests of the Most High, and we are not the Levitical priests, but our priesthood is the priesthood of Melchizedek, Yahushua being the top high priest, and we are the lesser priests in that order. Right. Let's go to Romans 15 and 16. All right. Because what we offer up is teaching the Gentile. Okay. It's Romans 15 and 16. Romans 15 and 16. Okay. This is Romans 15 and 16. All right. That I shall be the minister of Yahushua Mashiach to the Gentiles, administering the gospel of Yahweh, that the offering up of the Gentiles might be acceptable, the being sanctified by the Holy Ghost. Right, meaning what we are offering up, we teach the Gentiles, and that your new sweet savor to the Most High. And when you teach the Gentile, meaning our brothers who don't know who they are, and that is a sacrifice to the Most High, and it's like a bullock or a lamb, and you can literally offer up a Gentile to the Most High, and you teach him, but he's still spiritually blind, and he still don't know what's going on, and he's still lost, and he's still in the world, but you are trying to offer that offering to the Most High, and you have to cure him of his blindness, and then he can be sanctified to the Most High. And just like in the law, you can offer up a lamb that is blind or deaf, that's lame in the way. And just like our people who have become beasts or in the world, they can't be lame, and they can't be blind, and they can't be deaf. When you are teaching these people, when the Most High is coming to deliver them, and He is going to deliver those that are without spot and without blemish. So we have to make sure these people that we offer are in like manner without spot and without blemish. So every law, there is a physical side to it, and also it is a spiritual side to it. Right. Let's go to 1 Peter. Okay, 1:18. It's 1 Peter 1:18. Okay. For as much as ye know that ye were not redeemed with corruptible things, as silver and gold, from your vain conversation, received it by tradition from your fathers. Right. Meaning our spirit wasn't redeemed with 30 or 40 shekels, these corruptible things that will be burnt with fire. And that is what a lot of people are thinking, that this is going to redeem them in the last days. How much money they put in the church, or how much they donate to these camps, and none of that is going to redeem you from your vain conversation, received it by tradition from your fathers. Meaning we figured this out through Christianity, and when they tell you the more money you put in the pot, and you think you are saved, or people in the truth think because you have given alms to a camp, you are saved it and your sins are forgiven. And no, it's more than that. And these are spiritual sacrifices that don't require money. We go out and teach every Sabbath and counsel someone and keeping the commandments and getting your house in order spiritually and physically. Verse 19. But with the precious blood of Mashiach, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot. Meaning this what we are being saved by the precious blood of the Lord, and He sacrificed Himself for all of us. But if it wasn't for the Lord, we wouldn't know a damn thing right now, and we should be back in the world walking around being blind spiritually, and the Lord giving His only begotten Son without blemish and without spot for the nation of Israel. And how much more should we go harder so we can try to be without blemish and without spot? And we should always keep our garment white, meaning you have to reprove yourself, and you have to be always ready, always reading and studying where you're falling short. Because if you are not reading and you don't know where you are falling short at, and you're going to go on that same path and trip over that same rock until you get back in them scriptures and start reading the word. Right. Let's go to Philippians 4:17. This is Philippians 4:17. Okay. Not because I desire a gift, but I desire fruit that may abound to your account. Meaning he wanted the church of Philippi to increase. Verse 18. But I have all, so I can read that again. But I have all and abound. I am full, having received it of Epaphroditus, the things which were sent from you, an odor of a sweet smell, a sacrifice acceptable, well pleasing to Yahweh. Right. Meaning alms, gift, righteous work, charity, and it's all sacrifices. And why? Because we're priests and we have to conduct ourselves as priests. And what happened if the priest didn't do the duties, and he would be put to death? And an example, Aaron, 2 sons, Nadab and Abihu, it's like they put strange fire in the incense, and the Lord killed them. And the Lord said, wink not at your sons' fathers. And the Lord didn't wink at that, and he killed them. So you have to make sure the sacrifices that you are doing to the Most High is perfect and consistent and diligent. And this gift, this offering, they gave alms to the Apostle Paul, and that's a spiritual sacrifice. And we also went into teaching the Gentiles, and that's a spiritual sacrifice. And this has to be without even you giving alms. Even you giving alms without spot and without blemish. And you shouldn't give it and expect anything in return. And that's a blemish. You give alms, and you giving alms and want to be seen by a man, and that is a blemish in your sacrifice. And we have to make sure all your works that you are doing in sincere, without spot and without blemish, otherwise it is in vain and it's not a sweet savor to the Most High. Let's go to 1 Timothy 2 and 6. All right. 1 Timothy 2 and 6. Because Yahushua was a ransom for all of us. It's 1 Timothy 2 and 6, okay? 1 Timothy 2 and 6, okay? Who gave himself a ransom for all to be testified to, let me read that again. It's 1 Timothy 2 and 6. Who gave himself a ransom for all to be testified in due time. Meaning Yahushua given a ransom for all, and that is how our brothers and sisters has to be in this truth and make ourselves a ransom for all, meaning our works are not just to benefit us, but it's supposed to be benefiting the whole nation and uplifting the whole nation. And that is our reasonable service right there. And everything that you do is supposed to better the next man in this walk, and to better the next woman in this walk. And we have to make our body a ransom for all, because we are a prisoner in this truth and a prisoner of hope, and we are a prisoner of Yahushua. So we have to do the reasonable work to be redeemed from this hell that we are living in, which is Babylon. And that is your reasonable work. That is your spiritual sacrifices. And that is really all it's going into. That is making your body a living sacrifice, so we can get the hell out of here. And it is just that simple, right? Verse 7. Moreover, verse 7. Moreover, he must have a good report of them which are without, lest he fall into reproach and the snare of the devil. Meaning you are set up to be a teacher to the Gentile, meaning you were set up to be that light. And it tells you were set up to be that light in Matthew 5 and 16 chapter. And we supposed to be the light to the Gentile, and the Lord didn't like that flame in you to hide it up under the table, for no one can see it. And he put it on you, for you can be on top of that hill. So everybody can walk towards you to see and ask, what do I have to do to be like you? And what can I do to be that perfect Israelite? And no one should look at you and see any blemish in you, and no one shouldn't be able to call your fault out. And that is why it is time to sit back and examine yourself and say, am I that light on the hill, or the light up under the bushes where nobody can see? And if you are that light up under the bushes and don't come around my camp, men and women, you don't have that time for brothers that are half-assed in this truth, and that spirit is going to hop on the next man, etc., etc., and then the whole congregation is going to fall apart, and everyone should be letting their light shine in the last days, and more brotherly and sister love, and helping those that need help, and more video counsel, etc., etc., and that is part of your reasonable work, and that is your reason, your ransom right there. And that is how you are going to be delivered, if it's the Lord's will, and by putting in more work and more spiritual dollars to get up out of this spiritual jail. And that is your bond right there. And also, if you are teaching the Gentile false doctrine, and you are putting blemish on them, and you are teaching them that the church don't exist, or it's okay to eat pork, or you have brothers saying the Day of Atonement is a feast day, and why are you fasting and you should be feasting, and that is off, and you are putting blemish on them, and you are causing them to be lame, right? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 17:2. Deuteronomy 17:2. Bear with me. Deuteronomy 17:2. Okay. If there be found among you within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, man or woman that had wrought the wickedness in the sight of the Lord thy Yahweh, in transgression his covenant, meaning breaking the law. If you find anybody breaking the law, whether it's adultery, stealing, sorcery, wizardry, right? Verse 3. Verse 3, and had gone and served it other gods, and worshipped it them, either the sun or moon, or any of the host of heaven, which I have not commanded, meaning it could be Molech, Allah, white Jesus, money, weed, liquor, etc., and all of these can be other gods and power. And you have people worship the sun or the moon, and you have women saying, it's the time of the month, I'm on my period, and that has to be the moon, and putting spells on people with the moon. And also you have a lot of wizards and warlocks worshiping the moon, and also that's how the sun worshiping came about. And you got the Sunday churches, the Sunday, and that is going against the Most High laws and of the host of heaven, meaning the constellations of the stars are going to astrology, zodiac signs, and that's the host of heaven, which I have not commanded. Right, verse 4. And I, hold on, verse 4, okay. And it be told thee, and thou hast heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it be true, and the things certain that such abomination is wrought in Israel. Verse 5. Then shalt thou bring forth that man or that woman which have committed that wicked thing unto thy gates, even that man or that woman, and shall stone them with stones till they die. Right, meaning this is how you administrate justice in the ancient world, and you can't just go hear about it, and you have to go see if that thing is true, and you have to go search out the matter to see if he is having adultery with another brother's wife, and you can kick him out the congregation without searching out the matter to see if it is true, and that is anything that brought to your ears, and you have to inquire diligently, and that is the law, because you can get yourself jammed it up or someone else jammed it up. Right, let's go to the classes. Okay, because you got to prove all things. Right. First Thessalonians 5:21. It's First Thessalonians 5:21. Okay. First Thessalonians 5:21. Prove all things, hold fast that which is good. Right. Meaning to prove all things, and that's part of the law. And you have people say that Paul's epistle is not part of the law, but everything in the epistle, it goes some form of fashion, whether they were told orally or written manually, and it go back to the law. Hold fast that which is good, meaning don't slip and slide and go into other doctrine, and hold fast to the Most High. Right. Let's go to Leviticus. Let's go to Leviticus 5:1. Okay. Right, because you don't want to bear the iniquity, right? Okay. You do not want to bear that iniquity. Hey, you gotta say something. All right. This is Leviticus 5:1, and if this is Leviticus 5:1, and if a soul sin and hear the voice of swearing, and is a witness, whether he has seen or known of it, if he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity. Right, meaning you are going to bear that iniquity too, and you deserve the same punishment that they are getting, and get stoned, and you are going to bear that sin because you didn't reprove your brother, and that means you hate your brother. Right. Let's go to Galatians 6:1. Go to Galatians 6:1. Okay. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritually restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, consider thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Right. Meaning, if a man slip up and eat pork and be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritually restore such and one in the spirit of meekness, meaning by letting that brother know he went off, and then you build them up with the proper precept. And in the ancient world, it depends what your sin was, and you couldn't really restore such a law, and you had to stone them and send him to the spirit world, and then he get to try again in the third and fourth generation. But these days, you can restore such a one, which is the word of life. And that's why you have the administration of death too, 2 Corinthians 3rd chapter, and you have the administration of life. So now this is the administration of life. So now you can apply Leviticus 5:1 chapter, but you can also restore him now instead of stoning him. And that is why Yahweh shall give you that life, and you can repent and be justified of all things from what you cannot be justified by the law of Moses. Let's go to Sirach 19. Sirach 19:15. Okay. Sirach 19:5. All right. Admonish a friend, for many times it is a slander, and believe not every tale, meaning you have to inquire diligently, and sometimes it can be a slander, meaning they are just bearing false witness on your name and trying to corrupt your name. Verse 16. There is one that slipped it in his speech, but not from his heart. And who is he that had not offended with his tongue? Meaning you might have said the wrong thing, for example, and say the Apostle Pork broke down the book, but no, you really mean the Apostle Paul, and you kind of slipped it up and said the Apostle Pork, and that is what it means. You slip from the heart but not from the tongue, and you didn't mean it, and pork wasn't on your mind, but it happened because we are in the flesh, and we can't say that brother is wicked because he said the Apostle Pork, and we can't do that because sometimes we slip from the tongue but not from the heart. And we also can use the scripture to keep going off and calling your wife another woman name, etc., and say I slipped it from the heart and not from the tongue, and that is off, right? Verse 17. Admonish thy neighbor before thou threaten him, and not being angry give place to the law of the Most High. Read that again. Verse 7. Sirach 19:17. Admonish thy neighbor before thou threaten him, and not being angry give place to the law of the Most High. Meaning admonish you shall warn him before you threaten him. Give place to the law of the Most High. And we are going into the law and require diligently, and admonishing your brother, inquiring diligently of the slander and seeing what is going on, and stop just listening to rumors all the time, and go figure it out and go see if it really happened, and require diligently, or you are going to get yourself jammed up. Let's go to Sirach 42:1. Let's go to Sirach 42:1, okay? Of these things be not thou ashamed, and accept no person to sin thereby. Right, meaning, and these things that are about to be listed, you can accept no man to sin thereby, and you can't be ashamed of these things. Verse 2. Of the law of the Most High and his covenant, and of judgment to justify the ungodly. Meaning you can't be ashamed of the law and accept any man or woman to continue in their sin, and you shouldn't be ashamed to remove anybody or tell someone when they are going off, and that is what you're supposed to do as the men of the Lord, to show that brother that you love him, and the covenant is only for Israel, and you shouldn't be ashamed to tell the heathen and the judgment that comes with breaking these commandments, and you shouldn't be ashamed to tell an adulterer or sodomite that he is going to get put to death if he don't repent, and the ungodly, and you can justify the wicked that men like to dwell in, because every man is battling some kind of wickedness, because this is the condition of the battle, and we have to overcome the flesh to be part of the elect if it is the Lord's will. And everyone is battling something, and you can't let your reverence for another man cause you to fall as well. And if a brother have a demon on him, and I can't sit there and bat my eyes at him, and that would be wicked on my end, right? So let's go back to Deuteronomy 17:5. Back to Deuteronomy 17:5. Deuteronomy 17:5. Then shalt thou bring forth that man or that woman which have committed that wicked thing unto thy gates, even that man or that woman, and shall stone them with stones till they die. Meaning everyone has to stone them, and everyone can see it, and they would know not to do it. And everyone has to stone them, and you can say no. Let's go to Hebrew 10 and 26. Let's go to Hebrew 10 and 26, all right? Hebrews 10 and 26. For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remained no more sacrifice for sin. Meaning, if you are intentionally going off, and there is no more sacrifice for your sins. Verse 27. But a certain fearful looking for judgment and fierce indignation, which shall devour the adversaries. Right, meaning you have death at your door if you are sinning willfully. Verse 28. He that despised, read that again, verse 28. He that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. Right, meaning you had to stone someone under 2 or 3 witnesses, and you can't stone someone by yourself. And for example, if 2 brothers in the house and one brother goes off and you stone him to death, and you can't do that because it has to be up under 2 or 3 witnesses, and have to inquire diligently and have 2 or 3 witnesses. Verse 29. Of how much sore slacky punishment suppose ye shall he be thought worthy, who had trodden underfoot the Son of Yahweh, and had counted the blood of the covenant wherewith he was sanctified, and holy thing, and had done despite unto the Spirit of grace. Meaning it's a worse punishment being stoned, and the Lord called it a sore punishment, and you get a sore punishment up under Yahushua than you did up under the law of Moses. And the law of Moses, you might have gotten hung, burnt with fire, stones, whipped. But with Yahushua, you are going to be miserably destroyed, and that is Matthew 21:41 chapter. Miserably destroyed them wicked husbandmen, and let it out to men that will render their fruits and season. So the Lord has a judgment coming to you, and a more sore punishment than being stoned because you trodden underfoot the Son of God. And if you willfully go off, and that is what it is, and you take Yahushua off the cross, and you lay him down and trample all over him, and the blood is coming out, and you put him back on the cross, and you will say, can you forgive me for that? And that is evil and off, and that is what we do every time that we go off willfully, and now we get a sore punch because now you are playing with Yahushua when he already gave you grace. And that is why it says, who has done despise the Spirit of grace. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 17 and 6. Deuteronomy 17 and 6. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death, but at the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death. Meaning you have to have 2 or 3 witnesses to be worthy to be put to death, but the mouth of 1 witness you shouldn't be put to death. Right? Let's go to Leviticus 24 and 10. Okay, here's another account. Leviticus 24 and 10. This heathen, right? He blasphemed the Most High name. So let's get this account about this, okay? Right. You gotta be up under 2 or 3 witnesses. This Leviticus 24:10. Okay. And the son, Slucky, and the son of an Israelitish woman, whose father was an Egyptian, went out among the children of Israel, and this son of the Israelitish woman and a man of Israel strove together in the camp, meaning we had a mixed multitude that came out with Israel, and you had this Egyptian fighting against an Israelite. So this Israelite woman ended up laying down with the Egyptian man, and it could have happened in Egypt or when they came out. So she decided to live with an Egyptian, and now he fighting with this Israelite because our spirits are different from them. Egyptian and a Israelite are in the same room, and they will get into a fight. Verse 11. And the Israelitish woman son blaspheming the name of the Lord and cursed it, and they brought him unto Moses, and his mother name was Shelomith, Slaki, the daughter of Debri, of the tribe of Dan. Right, meaning the Egyptian son, that Hamite, was blaspheming the Lord's name, and his mom was an Israelite from the tribe of Dan. Verse 12. And they put him inward, that the mind of the Lord might be shielded them. They put him inward, meaning they locked him up in a cell until they figured out what to do to this heathen. And they never saw this before, a heathen blaspheming the name of the Most High. Right, verse 13. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 14, bring forth him that had cursed it without the camp, and let all that heard him lay their hands upon his head, and let all the congregation stone him. Right, meaning the heathen get stoned it as well, but they had to take him out of the camp because you don't want any blood to defile the camp from this heathen. And all the congregation stoned this damn Egyptian. And that's what happened when you blaspheme the name of the Lord. So the heathen gets stoned it as well. And the same thing it tells you in Isaiah 60 and 12 chapter. For the nation and kingdoms that will not serve thee shall perish. Yeah, those nations shall be utterly wasted. And the same concept, not serving the Most High, is blaspheming the name of the Lord. And also it tells you in Titus 2 and 5 chapter, if woman don't follow the attributes that is listed, it says that the word of Yahweh be not blasphemed, meaning to be discreet, chastity, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husband, their children. And if a woman isn't doing that, then she is blaspheming the name of the Lord. So you might as well be an Egyptian man. And that is the same thing that Egyptian man did, was blaspheming the name of the Lord. Right. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 17 and 7. Deuteronomy 17 and 7. Okay. The hands of the witness shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterward the hands of all the people, so thou shalt put the evil away from among you. Verse 8. If there arise a matter too hard for thee, in judgment between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, being matters controversy, within thy gates. Then shalt thou rise and get thee up into the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. Right, meaning you might have a matter that is too hard, and you might can't judge the matter. Right. Let's go to Deuteronomy 19 and 17. All right. It's Deuteronomy 19 and 17. Right. Bear with me. Deuteronomy 19 and 17. Okay. Then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days. Right. Meaning the priests and the judges execute the judgment of the Lord, and know the Most High isn't getting off his throne in the third heaven. And when you stand before the priest, you are standing before the Lord. And these are the gods that the Most High set up. Let's go to Exodus 22 or 28. Let's talk about the gods he set up. Okay. Exodus 22 and 28. Okay, thou shalt not revile the gods, nor curse the rulers of thy people, meaning the priests and the judgment, and they are the gods, or we are the gods and the priests and judgment in these last days. And revile means speak evil against. And also look at Miriam, and remember she reviled the God, and that is why Aaron said, lay not this sin upon us when we have done foolishly. So if you have reviled the God and you have death come to you, and also Miriam got mercy because the Lord just spit on her face, and also Nabal reviled to God. And David was a king, and Nabal was saying, who is David that I shall go? And you have many slaves running away from their master, and the Lord killed in Nabal. So now you see you have men that revile to gods. It's like, and when you slander your brother, you revile the gods. And when you go against the order of the Most High, and you are reviled the gods. Let's go to Acts 23:2. Okay. It's an account by Paul. Okay. This is Acts 23:2. About reviving the gods. Okay. This is Acts 23 and this is Acts 23:2. Okay. And the high priest Ananias commanded them that stood by him to smite him on the mouth. Verse 3. Then said Paul unto him, God shall smite thee, thou whitest wall, for sittest thou to judge me after the law, and commandest me to be smitten, contrary to the law. Right, meaning the high priest said to them, Slaki said to them, hit Paul in the mouth. And only Jake would tell someone to hit someone in the mouth. And Paul was like, why you hit me in the mouth? And what I have done to contrary to the law. Verse 4. And they that stood by said, revilest thou gods? God, Slaki, high priest. Read that again, Slaki, verse 4. And they that stood by said, revilest thou God, high priest. Right, meaning they said, look, you are reviled the high priest, knowing that he's the God of Israel. The gods of Israel. Right, verse 5. Verse 5. Then said Paul, I wist not, brethren, that he was the high priest. For it is written, Thou shalt not speak evil of the ruler of thy people. Meaning Paul was saying, I wasn't speaking evil of him, and that's Jake finessing, saying I didn't know he was the high priest. And Paul was like, oh, he is the high priest. Oh, I didn't know. And look how the high priest acted. And he hit me in the damn mouth. And that's the spirit that Paul is in. And when they smite Paul in the mouth, and Paul turned and said to the Lord, I'm going to smite you. And they said to Paul, what, you are talking to the high priest like that? And Paul said, I didn't know he was the high priest. And that's kind of going on in this thing. And Paul knew who the high priest was, and he was raised up to know that, and he was learned a man from his youth, and so he knew who everybody was. And not knowing that Paul was above the high priest, because Israel, they think on a carnal level, and they don't know how the Lord deal with people. And that is why you got to be mindful what you say to people, because anyone could be Paul back on this earth from the tribe of Benjamin. So we have to be mindful who we are talking to people in the last days, because the Lord might hit us in the mouth for talking to someone like that, right? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 19 and 17. This is Deuteronomy 19:17. Then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days. Meaning everyone had to come to Jerusalem to hear the cause from the matter. And you had judges set up throughout the tribes, and Jerusalem was your modern court. And why they went to the high priest, because the high priest had the Urim and the Thummim. Right, let's go to Exodus 28 and 29. This is Exodus 28 and 29. And Aaron shall bear the name of the children of Israel in the breastplate judgment upon his heart, when he goeth in unto the holy place, for a memorial before the Lord continually. Meaning each tribe was represented as a stone. So the Lord had Aaron to carry it as if he was dealing with the 12 tribes every time he went into the temple, symbolic for each stone that was upon his breastplate. Verse 30. And thou shalt put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim, and the Thummim, and they shall be upon Aaron's heart when he goeth in before the Lord. And Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel upon his heart before the Lord continually. Right? Meaning you have these two stones, and that is symbolic for Yahushua to execute judgment for the 12 tribes of Israel when there is a matter when that nobody knows what is going on. So the Lord would talk to the high priest, rather he could see through these stones and kind of see the judgment of what happened in the matter. And the Lord would talk to him. It's okay. That is what went down. Also meaning in the Hebrew, light and profession. And the light means you revealed all of the judgment and things that were were in the darkness, and it's perfected, because his judgment is not of man, but of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, given to the high priest. That matters that man solve, that the Most High can solve through the priest, and the judgment was executed. And that goes back to the law, and concerning certain things like even finding out genealogies, and you had to use of Urim and Thummim, and we are not going to need that in the kingdom of heaven, because the Spirit is going to be working on you. Right, let's go to Ezra 2:59. All right, this is Ezra. Okay, Ezra 2:59. Okay, Ezra 2:59, and these and these were they which went up from Tel Mila, Slaki, and Tel Harsa, Slaki, Cherub, Slaki, and Adan, Slaki, and Immer, Slaki, but they could not shew their father's house and their seed, whether they were of Israel. Right, meaning during the time they were rebuilding Jerusalem, the Babylonians came and destroyed everything, and burnt the temple, and burnt the records, and now they are rebuilding everything, and now they are rebuilding all the works, and they are building a foundation, and now you have to set everybody back to their order, and you had to get the priests back in order, the singing men, the Levitical priesthood, and you had to prove that you are a Levite, and back then you had to prove this thing. Right, verse 60. The children of the Slaki, the children of Tobiah, Slaki, the children of Nekoda, Slaki, 652, 61, and the children, Slaki, 61, and of the children of the priests, the children of Habiah, Slaki, the children of Koz, Slaki, the children of Barzillai, Slaki, which took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai, Slaki, the Gileadite, Slaki, and was called it after their name. Right, meaning all these men. Verse 62, okay. These sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy, but they were not found. Therefore were they as polluted, put from the priesthood. Right, meaning they had records of the Levites, and they came to see if their name were on it, and if their name wasn't on there, you were put from the priesthood, because they don't know if they are Levites or not. Right, verse 63. And the Tarshata, Slaki, said unto them that they should not eat of the most holy things, till there stood up a priest with Urim and with Thummim, Slaki, meaning Tarshish is the governor, and they can't eat of the holy thing until you have the Urim and the Thummim. So then the Urim and the Thummim will say, boom, I know all of Rudy's genealogy is going back to Abraham and your grandfather, that you really think you are from the tribe of Benjamin, but you are really from the tribe of Levi. So everyone's genealogy was recorded, and if you didn't know, then the Urim and the Thummim brought everything to the light, and it perfected the judgment on your genealogy. And Ezra was a priest and one of the direct son of Aaron. And if anyone knew about the Urim and the Thummim, it was Ezra, right? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 17 and 9. Deuteronomy 17 and 9. Okay. And thou shalt come unto the priests, the Levites, and unto the judge that shall be in those days, and inquire, and they shall shew thee the sentence of judgment. Verse 10, and thou shalt do according to the sentence which they of that place which the Lord shall choose shall shew thee, and thou shalt observe to do according to all that they informed thee. Meaning they might say, beat this guy with 39 stripes, or this guy deserved death, or this guy should be able to pay you 20 shekels, and you got to do it. Verse 11. According to verse 11, according to the sentence of the law which they shall teach thee, and according to the judgment which they shall tell thee, thou shalt do. Thou shalt not decline from the sentence which they shall shew thee to the right hand nor to the left. Meaning, if they say, beat this guy with 39 stripes, and you can say you will give him 25 stripes only, and or burn that man with fire, when you break this law and take the mother and daughter and marry them, and the Lord said, burn them all with fire, it is wicked. And if you don't burn them with fire, and you might get burned with fire for not doing it. Let's go to Amos. Let's go to Amos 2 and 7. Okay. This is Amos 2 and 7, okay? Amos 2 and 7. That paint after the dust of the earth on the head of the poor, and turn aside the way of the meek, and a man and his father will go in unto the same maid to profane my holy name. Meaning the father and the son sounds action and going unto the same woman. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 17 and 12. This is Deuteronomy 17 and 12, okay? And the man, it's like Deuteronomy 17 and 12, and the man that will do presumptuously and will not hearken unto the priest that standeth to minister there before the Lord thy Yahweh, or unto the judge, even that man shall die, and thou shalt put away the evil from Israel. Meaning, if that man don't want to hearken to the judgment that the priests and judges put forth, and they got to be put to death. And the same concept, the Most High put the words in certain brothers so you can hear that counsel and that rebuke, and you don't want to hearken to it. And the same way, and you are spitting in the face of the Most High. So that is evil has to be put out of Israel, and that man has to be put to death. And the Most High talk through men, and if you don't want to listen, then the Most High going to talk to you through judgment, and you will learn that judgment one way or the other. Right, let's go to Proverbs 16:1. Okay. Proverbs 16:1. The preparation, it's like the preparation of the heart and man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. Right, meaning everything is of the Lord. If the Lord put it in your spirit to say something that was off, and you get judged for that, and the Lord put it in your spirit to do that because it was some blemish in you, and the Lord did it so that the judgment can happen, and everything is of the Lord. And the answer of the heart and the preparation of the tongue. Let's go to Matthew 18:15, right? Let's go to Matthew 18:15. All right. Moreover, if thy, it's like moreover, this is Matthew 18:15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. Meaning, go tell your brother alone and face to face, and not texting. Not testing, and if the brother apologizes for stepping on your shoes, or etc., and the brother willing to get a brother a new pair of shoes. Right. Verse 16. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two read that again. It's Matthew 18:16. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of two or three witnesses every word may be established. Right, meaning he's stepping on your shoes while you are still talking to him, and he's not caring about it, and you all are butting heads with each other. So if he is still stepping on your shoes, and Yahushua said you have to bring two or three witnesses, and also how is the law done away with when Yahushua is quoting the law in Deuteronomy 17 chapter, right? It's verse 17. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican. Meaning the church is really going into ancient word presbytery, slacky. So you bring it before the congregation, and they have to sit there and say, well, look, you went off. And if he neglect to acknowledge what he done and leave the camp, and the Lord said, count that man as a heathen and treat him like them other nations, and you don't deal with him. And that is how judgment and justice work, and that's how you deal with matters with your brother. And we all should apply these scriptures when we have a matter. And also the Lord said it is much better to reprove than to be angry secretly, and he that confesseth his fault shall be preserved from from hurt. Sirach 20:2 chapter, right? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 17:14. Deuteronomy 17:14. When thou art come unto the land which the Lord thy Yahweh giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. Verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy Yahweh shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. Meaning you can't set another nation over Israel to be your king, and no voting as well. Verse 16. Okay. Verse 16. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt to the end that he should multiply. Let me read that again. This is Deuteronomy 17:16. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord has said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way. Right? Meaning you can be a sellout and want to go to Egypt to get more horses, and Egypt was known for horses back in the ancient world, and it tells you that during the time of Solomon, and he multiplied horses out of Egypt as well. And also today we can't be dealing with the Babylon government to multiply cars, money, etc. And you can't be a coon and a king at the same time, and you are selling out to them Edomites for material goods, and you want to be a king of the nation of Israel, and it don't work like that. And you can't serve two masters, and you can become invaded in this thing. And also the king are the top servants, and they have to deal with everybody problems, but everyone wants to be a king, but nobody wants the responsibility of being a king, and the stress and the demons you have to fight being a king. And just like today, everyone wants to be the the leader of a camp, but don't want, just like you don't want the responsibility of being the leader of a camp, and have nightmares, vision, and also demons working on him 24/7, and you have to take everything that comes to be a king, the good and the bad, right? Verse 17. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away, neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. Meaning a king isn't going to be able to execute judgment if you have 1,000 wives like Solomon, 700 wives, 300 concubines, and that is all. And how are you going to be the king, and you got these matter, and you are back there trying to take care of all your wives, and the focus should be of the Most High. And today we should not be focused on 5 wives while we are kings, and we are not going to have time to do the work. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold, meaning it's vanity. And when you get too much of it, and you are going to say, what do I need with the Most High if I have all of this silver and gold? And same thing goes for us today, and we shouldn't labor to get rich. And if you have that kind of money, then you are going to forget about the Most High, and we have to be mindful of this, right? Let's go to Proverbs 23:4. This is Proverbs 23:4. Labor not to be rich, seize up from thy own wisdom. Right, meaning labor not to be rich and labor to have enough where you can help a brother if he's going through something. Right. Okay, let's go Acts. It's Acts 18:3. And because he was of the same craft, he abode with them and wrought, for by their occupation they were tent makers. Right, meaning Paul was a laborer and he worked it, and he was of the same craft as well, and he was a tent maker. And we have to work being a king, and it's true. So we can't just go labor and have no job, and we have to work. Right. Let's go back to Proverbs 30. Let's go to Proverbs. and 7. It's Proverbs 30 and 7. Two things have I. It's Proverbs 30 and 7. Okay. Two things that. It's like, let me read it again. Proverbs 30 and 7. Two things have I required it of thee. Deny me then. Shlaki, deny me them not before I die. Verse 8. Remove far from me vanity and lies, and give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. Verse 9. Lest I be full and deny thee, and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my Yahweh in vain. Right, meaning we have to pray that the Lord don't give you not enough, that you have to steal and you blaspheme the name of the Lord, or the Lord give you too much, and then you will say, who is the Lord? And you will forget the Lord if you had too much money or everything. Right. Go 2 Thessalonians 3 and 8. Second Thessalonians 3 and 8. Neither did we eat any man's bread for naught, but wrought with labor and travail night and day, that we might not be chargeable, we might not be chargeable to any of you. Right, meaning Paul was working long hours because he didn't want to rely on the church of Thessalonica to provide for his logging, food, water, and he labored night and day. And the same concept today, if we go travel to another state and we want to support them brothers and we don't want them to support us, so we are not chargeable to any. Right, verse 9. Not because we have not power, but to make ourselves an example, unto you to follow us. Verse 10. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. Verse 11. For we heard that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busybodies. Right, meaning you have men that are busybody in this thing and worrying about what the next brother is doing, and that brother at work trying to feed his family, and that brother trying to call around to see who he can call instead of him being at work and feeding his family, and that is all. And we have to have a job in this thing to take care of ourselves and / our family. Right. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 17 and 18, okay? Deuteronomy 17 and 18. And it shall be when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the priests, the Levites, meaning the king has to write out copies of the laws so he can execute the right judgment that goes forth to whatever the situation is. And brothers are in that spirit today because they write out precepts for certain situations. And brothers precept book and notes and precept in their phones and breakdowns, and that is the law. And we have to write down commandments so like we are kings today. Verse 19. Verse 19, and it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his Yahweh, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes, to do them. Right? We have to read all the days of our lives if you are a king in this thing, and you have to read every day and all day if you are in this thing. And the king can just sit there, and the priests and Levites telling the king that you wrote that down wrong and get it right, and the king is being overcharged by the priests, and the Levites are making sure that everything is right in every law as well. And if not, the priest going to tell the king you messed that up, the writing. And also that's how you increase your fear in the Lord, by reading, and that's how you build up your faith and knowledge, by reading. Right? Verse 20. That his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom. He and his children in the midst of Israel, meaning he is going to read about being humble, meek, and a servant, the kings of Israel. Your heart is not lifted up above your brethren, and we are all brethren in this thing, and he is still the king, and everyone know that, but in his mind he is his brother's servant. And also Yahushua was the king, and he became a servant unto all. He said he came not to be ministered, but to minister. And he did A, B, and C, healing people and doing everything for the people, washing people's feet, etc., etc. And that was Yahushua minister. And Yahushua didn't ask anything from anyone but to serve the Most High. Yahushua did all the service, and that is what kings done. Right? So that's Deuteronomy 17 chapter. Okay. I want to give the honor and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua. Shalom.